Now being joined by none other than one of Nigeria's finest football experts, author, and an excellent sports journalist. China Acheru joins us all the way from Port Harcourt tonight. China Acheru, of course, is the programs director of Wazobia FM there in Port Harcourt. China, thank you so much for coming through. I know we had to yank you away from your TV where you were watching reruns of House of the Dragon. I'm going to tell everybody about that. You're a huge fan, understandably so. It's a great show. But what is playing on in Nigeria is House of Commotion, or do I say House of Ultimatum? Because a fresh crisis has hit the Nigerian Football Federation. There's a report claiming that the federal government has given the Ibrahim Gusau-led NFF board 24 hours to resign. Now, the alleged ultimatum follows Nigeria's disappointing 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations campaign and follows amid growing scrutiny of the federation's handling of the country's national teams. Now, the Super Eagles missed the 2026 FIFA World Cup after losing the African playoffs final to DR Congo on penalties, while the Super Falcons are also eliminated by Cameroon in the WAFCON quarterfinals before losing to South Africa in the World Cup playoffs. Now, Nigeria also missed out on the 2025 Under-17 AFCON, ruling the Golden Eaglets out of the 2026 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Don't forget, the Golden Eaglets are 5-time world champions, but the Nigeria Football Federation themselves are yet to confirm the reported ultimatum. Now, this is the, do I say the, some will call it the book of sins of this particular NFF board. The Super Eagles Team B were eliminated by Ghana, Olympic Eagles eliminated by Guinea, Golden Eaglets lost to Burkina Faso, missed qualification for Under-17, multiple qualifications missed as well. I mean, back-to-back FIFA World Cups not gone to by the Super Eagles, although one was under a separate board, another one was under this board. Flying Eagles also failing to qualify for the Under-20 AFCON. It seems as if they have a rap sheet that would make the likes of Tupac and Biggie particularly happy. But this is a book of sins, as it were. And China, is this enough for any decent football federation to say, hold up their hands and say, look, we have sinned. It is very clear that we cannot manage Nigerian football and we would honorably go. Is this enough for any decent football federation in any part of the world to honorably resign?
In any part of the world, yes. In Nigeria, no.
Okay.
I wrote an article which I'll publish tomorrow where I asked Ibrahim Gusau to learn from the boxers. In boxing, I used to love boxing. And when you get battered, your coach on one side, he has a white towel hanging on his neck. And when he thinks you've taken enough beating, he either waves the towel in the air or he throws it into the ring to let the umpire know it's over. Now, this is the time when Gusau should wave that white towel, throw it into the ring, and walk away. Because he's taking a beating. He's taking a real beating. But somehow, he has decided to stay as NFF president. I don't know why. Only he knows. I don't think he will resign. I think he was going to fight to the end. I think so. But any decent person should have known that it's time to stand up and walk away. Walk away with whatever decency you have left
or
in
dignity.
You, but not a Nigerian.
But Wale, I mean, you look at everything that has transpired in this interesting saga, Wale, and you're asking yourself, this move by the government, so we don't know if it's the federal government or the federal government through the National Sports Commission, that isn't particularly clear, but somewhere someone is cracking a whip and giving an ultimatum. Most likely it's the latter, but we can't say for sure because in Nigeria, a lot of people use the name of the presidency to cover up their actions. But is this a legal move to just slap your hand on the table and say, gentlemen, you are out? Can this work?
I don't know, and I want us to tread with caution because was it Tuesday when we were here? The first story was that the Sports Commission had cancelled next month's electoral congress in Lafia. But guess what? That story died a natural death. I mean, in the space of 24 hours. And now another one has come up again. And this one has two versions. The first version was that NFF members or members of the board have been summoned to Aso Rock. You know, and they've been given 24 hours to honor that invitation. Then number two, we also got again today that even some certain members of the board had already tendered their resignation, about 6 of them, after they all made that trip to the Aso Village. So we have to be very careful. A lot of news are
that's the interesting thing, Wale, and China, because it seems as if someone somewhere is playing puppet master. The very first time, it was Gowon Akpodono, respected columnist in Guardian, who broke that story about how the NFF, the National Sports Commission, have actually suspended the elections and asked the NSC to go. Then 24 hours later, or was it another 48 hours later, Aaron Akarajala of Arise News also did a huge expose saying that the NFF have been given 24 hours. The executive board, have been given 24 hours to resign. Is this the unseen hand of some player who is using unofficial channels to make demands, or are they testing waters? You're an experienced journalist. You can possibly tell us what's going on.
I think they're both testing waters. Now, the NFF board know that they have FIFA backing. They know that. So you can't just kick them out. So sometimes they will push some of these things out through their friends in the media. Because I also got to report that they are written to FIFA about a week or two ago, letting FIFA know that the Nigerian Sports Commission, National Sports Commission in Nigeria, is about to force them out. I got that information. I don't know how true it is. So we're going to have from both sides, using the media to test the waters, see what the reaction will be like. But one thing I know is that you can't disband the NFF board. Now, if they resign because they resigned, except they have proof that they were forced to do that. Then again, FIFA is going to stand by them, because there are legal ways where the board can be removed. Now, there's a story of the EFCC and ICPC.
Let me get to that, China, because let me get to that, because we are agreed that the end game for the authorities is for the Nigerian Football Federation board to leave, right? And that's basically the answer.
Yes.
Now, what we are doing now, or what the NSC or the government now seem to be doing, is what we call working to the answer. They want to get the desired result, so they will do whatever they need to do to get whatever they want. Because today, a letter purportedly came out from nowhere that the financial affairs of the Nigerian Football Federation have come under scrutiny, not from one, but two agencies, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. They're investigating the utilization of a 12 billion naira federal government intervention fund meant for players' wages and bonuses. That's it there on your screen. And I believe someone wrote to the Nigeria Football Federation invoking the Freedom of Information Bill, trying to get information from the Nigeria Football Federation, but the NFF wrote back to this company, Cromwell and Okeke, stating very clearly that the access to the records that they require cannot be handed over to them, because the EFCC and the ICPC are currently using it as ongoing investigations. Now, this has changed the game somewhat, because is this a case of working to the answer? Basically setting the hounds loose to go and hunt whatever it is that they are looking for, Wale?
If 4-3-3 can work, I'm sure that 3-4-3 can work. It's basically the situation here.
Whatever the formation, 4-5-1, 3-5-2,
whoever
whatever
is behind all of this is trying to ensure that if you can't go the easy way, the hard way probably has to be the only way, like Van Damme's movie. So this is Nigerian style. This is not the first time it is happening, where these watchdogs, these financial watchdogs, have been used. Yeah, it's not the first time, so it's not a new tactic at all. So Ibrahim Gusau I'm sure he must have seen this document. If this document is actually authentic, he must have seen it and just smiled, because like China said, the most important thing, I want Gusau go like yesterday, but he has got FIFA's backing. So whatever has to be done to oust him has to come within the ambits of what FIFA always dictates as far as the FIFA statutes my concern.
Kind of like how FIFA members want Gianni Infantino to leave, but they can't exactly throw him out.
Exactly.
There are ways by which he has to leave. They invoke an extraordinary Congress whereby I think a certain quorum must be met in order for him to pass a vote of no confidence on him, and he leaves. They can't remove him by fiat. Basically, what needs to be done must be done legally as laid down by FIFA. But I think a certain gentleman asked some very pertinent questions today. I think it was Maxwell Kumoye, experienced journalist, who also said he asked some very, very pertinent questions. And these are critical questions, many thanks to my producer. If this is true, this letter is that we heard that EFCC and ICPC are currently investigating, what happened to that 12 billion naira? Recall that 12 billion naira was a federal government intervention given to the Nigerian Football Federation to offset outstanding bonuses and allowances that had existed for quite a while. Then again, how much of this actually reached the players and the coaches? And how much was spent on accommodation and other expenses? Then also, were all payments properly documented? And also, why have the EFCC and ICPC deemed it necessary to examine the NFF financial records? That's a big question for me in China. So what exactly are we hoping to find? Are they, like they say in their movie parlance, are they hoping to find a smoking gun? Are they hoping to find the murder weapon?
For the EFCC and ICPC to check the NFF record, it means there must have been a petition. So the thing is that who petitioned them? There must have been a petition. Now, all these questions that have been asked is what these two bodies will answer during the investigations. Then again, how long will these investigations take? Will it still be ongoing by the time we have the elective Congress next month? Will it be done before then? And if they are found guilty of anything, what are the consequences? Will that be enough to remove them based on financial crimes committed if they are found guilty? Now, one thing you need to know, Tunde, since 2006, this happens every election cycle. Before Galadima was removed, this thing happened. Before Sani Lulu was removed, this happened. Before Aminu Megeri was removed, this happened. By next week, there'll be FIFA letters flying out every other day. It's a recurring decimal in our football politics. So the thing that, like, I feel that a lot of these stories are being pushed out by interested parties. Some from the NSC, which is the federal government, some from the NFF, just to have something to hold back on and say, look, we are being harassed by the government. So to find out eventually which of these ones hold water, we may not really know, because unless we are right there inside with them. In any case, there's a petition, there's an investigation. All we can do is to wait and see, or reach out to the EFCC and ICPC to ask them what's the extent of your investigation. But until that happens, Ibrahim Gusau and his board still remains running Nigerian football. Now, you must also know that now, if there's a division in the House, that is ground for postponing the elective Congress. But right now, I believe that majority of the state FA chairmen are behind the president. Can they be split between now and then? It's not looking likely. So you find out that, and like you talked about FIFA, can the current executive of the NFF actually call an extraordinary Congress and say want to impeach the president? They're all together in it. So it can't come from inside.
It has to come from within.
Because they're united on the inside.
The state association presidents that you mentioned are the largest voting bloc in that electoral congress, 37 of them. You need basically more than half of them in order to carry out anything, and that's not looking likely, like you said. But Wale, let me come to you. Is this government interference or government intervention? I'm asking this because in all this, we haven't heard anything from the Senate Committee on Sports or the House Committee of Sports. The chairman of the Senate Committee of Sports, Senator Abdul Ningi, I do recall he was in Morocco with the Super Falcons, and also was also part of the people who are charging them to go out and beat Ghana so that they can qualify for the playoffs. Is the same man who was seen supporting the NFF now going to be the same person who is asking them questions regarding their stewardship of Nigerian football over the last 4 years?
See, like Tony used to say, if the NFF needs, money from upstairs, it is intervention. But when they are about to be ousted,
or asked how they spent the money.
Exactly, it is seen as
interference.
Interference. But I mean, there's no two ways about it. The moment the NSC has really started poke-nosing themselves or in trying to put themselves in this situation, it's interference because the Sports Commission is basically the Nigerian government. And I'm sure that FIFA are definitely monitoring the situation and just trying to see how things unfold in the coming days or maybe even in the coming weeks as well. So this is, I won't say clear interference yet because once again, we've not seen established lines of communication from the NFF saying that this has happened, and the Sports Commission also has just, So what we're getting are failures from both parties. The media has been flooded with different versions of this story. So let's just filter. Let's just take a bit of time in the coming days. Let's filter whatever is true, what is not true. Then I think we can start having a proper conversation on what's happening.
In due time, all shall be revealed. But China, very quickly, do you see the unseen hand of some puppet master here trying to instigate?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. But I'll be careful to say government interference at this time because, like Wale said, if the NSC actually said, we give you 24 hours to leave or to step down, resign, has there been word from an official NSC channel? No. So it will have to hold on to that. But if they did say that, then that is clearly government interference. But if the ICPC and EFCC are investigating them, that can't be called interference in any way. Because if you're corrupt, you're corrupt. You understand? So it all depends on what side of the fence we are standing to look at it. But for now, there's no direct word from the NSC that they've done anything. These are just, people writing stories that these stories that come from inside, but there's nothing official yet. So we can't right now say government interference on that.
Well, just to help you out, Wale and Chana, this is definitely the NFF television series, as it were. And it's just a matter of time before we hear Dracarys and everything will catch fire. Let's just put it that way.